Welcome, investors. My name is Duncan Wilson. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Erie Shores Capital. It's a mortgage investment corporation, and we're here to chat about it today.
Shawn? Yeah. I am Shawn Kingsbury. I am one of the vice presidents and co-founder of Erie Shores Capital. And, really excited and happy to share with you this opportunity that we have going on in Windsor in our local community.
Heck yeah. So Erie Shores Capital is a mortgage investment corporation. Basically, we pool funds together and we lend them out on borrowers' properties. In essence, we're filling a gap. That gap was created many, many years ago by the government with new mortgage rules, making it more stringent to actually get approvals. We're here to help borrowers out, but using local investors to do that.
Yeah, the other big benefit that we provide for our investors is with a mortgage investment corporation, we're built on the monthly mortgage payment.
True.
And what that means is we collect interest payments from our borrowers and issue those returns back to our investors. And what that does is provide stable monthly returns and the ones that compound as well. So any investors that want to grow their portfolio by investing in, asset-backed security, we're the spot to be for this.
Yeah, guys, and realize we are the first of its kind down in this area. So we know this area very, very well. Shawn's been a broker for many years. I myself have been in this industry for more than 20 years. So we know the market. So why not create a mortgage investment corporation that helps borrowers in our market?
Yeah. With Erie Shores Capital, we have 4 mortgage brokers that are going to be managing your funds that are part of our company. You have myself, Shawn Kingsbury, and Duncan Wilson here on this webinar. We also have 2 other members, Tyler Thiessen, who has a wealth of knowledge when it comes to the private lending market, and Charlene Short, who is an absolute phenomenon when it comes to mortgage administration and handling compliance and mortgage processing.
Great word for that too. She is incredible. So us 4 coming together, what we said was, what's the next step in this market? What's the next step in this industry? The next step is a mortgage investment corporation. We're one of a kind when you want to look at the owners. We are all mortgage brokers and we know how private mortgages operate. So why not give back to our local investors that want to invest in us in order to provide a return to, but also get borrowers approved for their mortgages?
So Windsor-Essex is a market that we are really tied closely with.
Oh, yeah.
I know you're from Windsor. I moved to Windsor, probably 10 years ago now. And I saw that Windsor as a market was really dominated by the individuals that lived here. The individuals that, live and grow in that market are really the ones that are, moving our economy along. So what we wanted to do is take this concept that we've seen applied in Toronto mostly and apply it to our Windsor market and allow for that growth. So being local, supporting local community, growing investor funds in our area is something that we're really passionate about. And we want to make sure that, we keep close with every decision we're making.
Yeah. And additionally to that, you, as an investor, you maybe want to get into the real estate market. The only option you had available was to invest in a MIC, and that MIC was located in Toronto. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, why not create something that's local that keeps money down here instead of providing money up to Toronto for them to lend out willy-nilly wherever they want? You're now going to invest in a local mortgage investment corporation called Erie Shores Capital that lends out in the local area only, Southern Ontario to be specific.
A great question we get asked a lot is, what is a MIC? What does it mean? How do I access it? So a MIC, formerly a mortgage investment corporation, is an investment vehicle that pools investor money together and then lends that money out on real estate properties as secured as mortgages. What it essentially does is creates an investment opportunity that allows a full flow through of interest earned to our investors, giving them that competitive return and that competitive advantage when it comes to investments.
Yeah, guys, this is not rocket science either. MICs began in roughly in the 1970s. Mm-hmm. They began out in British Columbia, and they've made their way obviously from out west all the way to central Ontario. At the end of the day as well, MICs have been around in Ontario for roughly 15, 20 years, but not as full-fledged as they are now. The next step in our process was, let's create a local vehicle that we can actually perform returns to investors that want to invest locally. And the MIC was the one step that we went to.
The reason we think that you should invest in Erie Shores Capital is for a number of reasons, actually. And that's due to the fact that we have competitive returns for our investors. We are starting at 8.25% annually, and we pay that out per month on a monthly distribution. However, that's not where we stop, Dunk. Actually, what we're planning to do is add investor bonuses that are coming up semi-annually, depending on the performance of the fund. And as we grow, we're able to actually access more credit facilities to earn even more returns for our investors. So these are the type of things that early investors would be getting early access to, and that would probably benefit them over the long term of our company.
Yeah. Now returns, let's be honest, returns are 8.25. That is above average for any normal investment in a mutual fund. What I've found in my experience is the bigger a fund gets, the less returns can be handed over to investors because of administration costs, because of other costs that come along with massive growth and scalability. You have to understand as an investor, if you're going into a local MIC, which is us, we have 4 owners that run and work mortgages all day, every day. So not only are we small, you get the return because of our size. So I just want to point that out as well.
So our investment strategy has 2 approaches to it. What we want to do is ensure that capital is working for our investors, generating those returns, but we also keep at the forefront protecting capital and safeguarding our investments. So what we have is implementation of a very rigorous due diligence process in our underwriting procedure. We look at multiple factors when it comes to assessing a loan opportunity, such as the collateral on the property, the borrower, and very importantly, the exit strategy. With our goal of this company is to ensure that funds are in short-term producing mortgage assets that allows us to incur, additional interest costs as well as provide those strong returns to our borrowers in our area.
And know this, the reason why Shawn was talking about our investment strategy being to the local area, that's the area that we know as brokers.
Yeah.
So we won't be going in and investing in, for instance, Markham. I don't know the area of Markham, and I'm only choosing Markham right now because of this beautiful video, but there's other local areas that other brokers know. I know Southern Ontario. So when you invest with us, you're investing in Southern Ontario and what we know and the knowledge that we have in this area and the expertise and experience we have in this area.
Yeah. So
how do people invest in Erie Shores, Shawn?
Honestly, it's simpler than you think, Dunk, really.
Perfect.
We have this process ironed out with our current investors on how to invest with Erie Shores. So I think the main thing that you want to ensure is that if it's a suitable investment for you. So what we'd like to do is review your current investment opportunities that you have and ensure that it's diversified. We don't want to have any investor putting all of their eggs in one basket.
Do you even understand what you're currently invested in?
Where is your money right now? I think is a main question that we need our investors to be asking. And then once we identify that, hey, maybe there are some underproducing assets in your portfolio, let's work on improving those and changing those over. So what we will then do is we will start an application with our company. We'll set up the transfer of your funds and we'll complete a subscription agreement, which essentially means that you are interested in investing with us. Once all of that is complete, we'll fund our account and then we'll use those monies to earn that return. And within as little as a month after investing is when you're going to start seeing those investment returns coming into your account. Yeah,
and Shawn touched on it at one point, diversification. Let's be honest, guys. Do we even know what that means? Diversification means you go into all asset classes. And when we say asset classes, it means different mutual funds, maybe stocks, but what asset-backed security you're actually in. You might be in guaranteed investment certificates, which is quite all right. But do you have any asset-backed securities actually in your portfolio? I highly doubt it. That's why a mortgage investment corporation, that's why we created Erie Shores, to provide a different diversification class. So when you're investing in asset-backed securities, you're investing in secured mortgages paid by borrowers back to you to get your return.
Yeah. So we do get a lot of questions surrounding some of the processes and procedures when it comes to Erie Shores Capital.
Some are funny.
So one of the main one that we do get. So what's my minimum investment? Our goal at Erie Shores is to keep that barrier for entry low enough that the average individual can access this market. You don't have to be extraordinarily wealthy. You don't have to be able to afford a property on your own to get invested.
What is that low
so investment? that low investment's actually only $25,000. We as a company, we want to allow that $25,000 investment to start earning dividends for our investors. And those dividends actually is our next question. How often do we pay those out? Is actually once per month. We get those payments from the borrowers, we ensure that they're processed, and we issue those dividends to our investors that can either be reinvested through our custom drip program or to be taken as income for some of those older investors that are needing that fixed income.
Inside a RIF.
Yeah. So I think the last question maybe they're asking you is, how can I get my money out, Dunk? What happens then?
Yeah. So How do you get your money out? Well, just like any private mortgage, let's say, you'd be investing in for 1 year. Well, the actual redemption period within the Erie Shores Capital investment is 1 year. So you're locked in for 1 year. After that 12-month period, you can request a redemption at that time. And what it would do is we'd talk about it, discuss it at a local level and say, does it make sense that we can get this money out? Now, most times it can. Sometimes possibly you might have a lag period. It might take an additional month. And that's to do with keeping within the Income Tax Act. So your investment withdrawal might trigger a situation. I won't get into too much detail because I notice I'm doing that already. Yep. But basically it's 12 months and then you can request a redemption.
So the risks that we're definitely seeing in other markets is, not a strict enough review of the file. So what we do at Erie Shores, within our compliance and underwriting package, we ensure that properties are appraised. We want to know what that house looks like. Make sure that there is what we call pride in ownership.
Correct.
So we want to make sure that we're filling a need in the market that we've seen, but we also want to make sure that the security that we're lending on, that we're putting our investor money in, is a safe and stable security. So what we do is we ensure that we have limits in terms of our exposure, and our conservative loan to value underwriting, I think, are very important practices that we implement, ensuring that, capital is protected. And, that's our main issue, our main goals.
I would say the main word here is continuity. We want to make sure that the borrowers can get in. They're not in this situation coming to Erie Shores forever. We're a Band-Aid situation where we help a borrower in need for a short period of time. Then we use our broker hats, I would call it, like a broker hat, to say, okay, when can we get them out? One of our biggest exit strategies is the borrower selling right now in the market across the board. We're trying not to get into those situations. We want to actually make sure there is an exit strategy lined up for this borrower within 12 months to 2 years.
Yeah. As a local investment company, we really do strive to help our Windsor-Essex market through multiple different ways. Through providing those stable returns is one thing that we want to ensure. Traditionally, these companies are based out of Toronto. And for many years now, we've run into issues where these Toronto companies, they don't look at Windsor as a market that is expanding and growing. And we're not sure why. We've identified that, and we want to make sure that we're contributing to that growth. We're allowing the Windsor market to grow. And we're doing that by funding these mortgages. We're allowing for the development of properties, renovation, increasing in the value of homes in the area. And we're really helping homeowners get into properties is what we're trying to do. And we're ensuring that those homeowners are spending those monies and keeping those investment funds in our local Windsor market so that we can, continue to grow our communities is very important to us.
Yeah. So I would say touch on it. I've been in 20 years in this industry, and I've noticed the shutting down of branches. I've noticed centralization happening throughout major banks where everything's done out of Toronto. Now that cuts 3-4 jobs out of our Windsor area and produces 2-3 jobs up in Toronto. I want it to stop. As an investor, you should want it to stop as well, because all it's doing is depleting your assets down here. Even your own house that you live in is being depleted. And what we're trying to do is stop the gap from happening and bring it back down to Windsor, to a local area. That way we can help them as well as help you with your investments.
Yeah. Well, excitingly, investors want to invest with our company. And I think the first step is you're going to give us a call. You're going to give us a call, Duncan or myself. We want you to check out our website, erieshorescapital.ca, or email us at info@erieshorescapital.ca. And then from there, what we'll do is we'll do that review. We'll ensure that, this is a suitable investment for you, and we'll get you in the process of starting that investment. What we typically do is, every month we're adding new investors. So if you want to be part of this month, make sure to reach out to us, and then we can get you set up so that you're earning those returns as soon as possible.
Yeah, and Shawn makes a great point. So honestly, call your current advisor. Let them know you're withdrawing funds on your mutual side. Call your Toronto asset-backed security manager. Let them know you're pulling out of their MIC, because you're going to be bringing it to Erie Shores Capital, because it makes sense. It makes sense in Windsor. It makes sense in the surrounding area. And it makes sense for the borrowers that need funds in this area. Yeah.
Yeah, man, this has been great.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to our presentation and for considering this option of Erie Shores Capital for your future investments. And we're pretty excited. We're pretty excited about working with everybody, and we're happy to get started and get this train rolling. Invest now.